Update. Am I the a-hole for not letting my best friend have her wedding on my property after being uninvited? Original story. One of my 29 male best friends, Carla, 31 female, is getting married soon. It's only meant to be a small backyard type of wedding, but they've been planning it for a few months now, and originally it was supposed to be on my property. They wanted it because it's private, has lots of open space for the reception, a nice view, and the house could be used for them to get ready and stuff. Of course, I said yes, so she and her fiancé Rick were very happy. Thing is, Carla and I do have a history. We went on and off in college but decided to stay friends. Then I met my wife, got married, Carla met Rick, and now here they are. Now, my wife knows I went out with Carla back in college, and she didn't care. Carla still went to our wedding and everything. I never knew if Rick was told or not, as it's not my relationship, therefore not my business to say anything, so I never did. But Rick found out recently, and not in the best way. Not sure how, but from what I heard from friends is that one mutual friend told him, no idea why, that we used to date. Not only that, but apparently Carla said a couple years ago she was still in love with me when she was already dating Rick. Don't have actual confirmation if that's exactly what he was told. All Carla told me is that Rick was told about our past, and he's angry at her for never saying anything. It became quite a drama, and didn't hear from her over a month until now. She told me they're going to couples counseling and that the wedding is still on, but Rick requested that I not attend. It sucks, but I totally get why he wouldn't be comfortable. Then I asked the obvious question, where are they going to hold the wedding then? To my surprise, she said they still want it at our place. Rick said so too, and in my mind I'm going, he doesn't want the guy who dated his fiancée years ago at the wedding, but still wants the wedding at his house? My wife and I are expected to just not be at our home that weekend. So I told Carla no. They're going to have to find someplace else, since we're not going to simply leave our home to them for the weekend. Not only for safety reasons, but it just doesn't make sense. Rick doesn't want me around because he's not comfortable, but is comfortable enough to have their wedding at my house? They really want their wedding here though. And because of that, I've been bugged by not only her, but also Rick, and some friends who think I'm being a petty a-hole for not letting them have the wedding here anymore. Honestly, I don't think that I am. It just doesn't make sense at all to have to leave our own place for a wedding we're no longer welcome to, and leaving our home totally vulnerable. Still, being accused of sabotaging their wedding, and Rick believes, is the least I can do after everything. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Rick doesn't want to get married anymore, but doesn't want to be the bad guy breaking up with his fiancée, so has put her in an impossible position so he can get the sympathy when they split. Not the a-hole. Damn, excellent insight. Rick is petty and passive-aggressive. And ridiculously insecure. Like she's marrying a dude, not her ex. Chill. Not the a-hole. What a weird request. Do you typically host wedding receptions on your property? He can go pay for a venue if he's going to act like that. If they even end up getting married. Only hosted a wedding once for my sister a couple years ago. It's stressful setting up and cleaning up after even with a crew. So that's why I'd only do it for people I'm close to. Just a thought. But if they keep pushing and harassing you, it's still very likely that if they decide to go through with it, they'll just turn up on your property day off or day before to set up, thinking you'll have no choice but to allow it. I'd tell them in no uncertain terms that if they do, you'll have authorities called and have them removed as they don't have permission to use your private property. Rick believes it's the least I can do after everything. Rick is sick if he thinks A, his fiancée never dated anyone before him, B, she didn't stay friends with old boyfriends, C, he can get someone's home as a wedding venue while not allowing the owners to attend the wedding. You are under no obligation to provide a free wedding venue to these people under these circumstances because you have not, in fact, done anything wrong. I pity Carl if she marries the guy. Not the a-hole. And now for the update. Some stuff has happened recently, and many of you have wanted an update on this. I appreciate the reassurance and understanding my decision when it seems that many the situation didn't. So I remained firm in my decision about not letting them use my property for their wedding, even if they changed their mind about inviting us, which honestly I don't care about anymore. Rick's family, thanks to him, got a hold of my cell, so that was more people I had to deal with. I put my foot down with Rick a few days ago and told him directly that I will go to the police and press charges for harassment. I have all the texts and calls documented. Also had a very long talk with Carl about everything going on. She apologized for it all, and she knows it's her own fault. Well, she decided to be the one to call things off in the end. Some of my friends still seem to think it's my fault, and I'm taking some distance from them for a while. And also from Carla, after getting some confirmation on a few things that I needed to know. The whole thing is a mess, and I'm only glad in the end that I didn't give in to their demands, and the constant bugging has stopped. It's still a huge headache over the last few days, and not the kind of drama I want back in my life. Thank you to everyone who made me feel supported in this. It helped a lot not feeling like the only other person, aside from my wife, who thought their demand was insane and inappropriate. Wow. They ended up calling off their whole wedding? Guess they both dodged a bullet just because you refused to be used. Good for you. Well, Carla did, and I think she realized this was too much drama and conflict before the marriage even begins. I'm sure she had other reasons. I think she did a good thing here, because I feel like Rick was crazy and showing red flags. I feel bad for her. I also feel bad for Opie and the wife for having to be harassed by some crazy man at his family. I think Carla had plenty of fault too. Probably better for all that they don't get married. Stay strong, man. Also, beware of weird vendettas from Rick's family. So far, nothing in the last few days. Don't know if that's the calm before the storm, or Rick at least warned them that I'm not playing around. Or Rick went, yay, I don't have to marry her anymore, and I didn't even have to be the a-hole for calling it off. She did it, and has called off his family. The harassment was still occurring from Rick and also his family even after Carl called things off. It just wasn't because of the wedding venue anymore. That only stopped after a threatened legal action. That whole situation sounded insane. I'm sorry you had to endure something like this from such entitled jerks over it. And you've potentially lost a longtime friend because of it too. But I think you're better off. Fiancé especially sounds nuts. I can't grasp being so insecure over learning that my significant other has, gasp, dated other people before me. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé she's either with me or against me in this conflict? So my fiancé, female 24 and I, male 27, got engaged in May and are currently planning for our wedding in August. It's worth mentioning that I'm the sole earner because my fiancé is still in university and have saved up a decent amount of money to afford the wedding. Thing is, her parents get involved in everything. From picking the engagement ring on my behalf, to giving opinions on where we should rent, and now my future mother-in-law is constantly giving opinions in our wedding. Future mother-in-law would follow up in everything we do. It'd make negative comments on things like the best man, the guest list, and food. She told my fiancé she didn't like who I picked to be my best man and wanted me to replace him after a big argument, but I said no. Though my fiancé said we should have just done it. Mother-in-law also wanted me to uninvite people I wanted at the wedding so she could add more guests on her side of the family. I said no to that too. Now to the current and biggest conflict between us. Mother-in-law called saying she didn't like the venue we picked, which is in our hometown. She wanted me to reconsider, but I said no since my fiancé liked it too. But my fiancé came to me yesterday to show me a venue her mom picked and already paid for, saying since she paid for it, then I should say yes this time. I was in shock and angry because not only did she not consult us, but the venue she picked is 3 towns away where my brother-in-law lives. I immediately thought about my disabled parents who cannot travel this distance for health reasons. Besides that, most of my family won't attend because of the distance, so I said absolutely not agreeing on this venue. My fiancé said she disagreed with me, and that I had no right to complain because her mom and dad paid a lot of money for this venue as a wedding gift and we should accept it. I calmly explained why I refused, and she kept saying I'm refusing on purpose because I hate her mom and I'm playing cat and mouse with her. I bluntly said her mom is indeed making this a game and told my fiancé she's either with me or against me on this issue. That she either backs me up or there won't be any more wedding planning. She got upset and started crying, asking what she's going to tell her mom and why I was making her choose between me and her parents. But I just feel like she's refusing to see why I don't want this specific venue. So what if her brother lives there? I've never been to that town, so having the wedding just because her mom paid for the venue is not okay. We haven't talked ever since that argument. My friend called me an ungrateful fool for turning away a free wedding venue over distance, but I can't help but feel future mother-in-law did it purposely. Now for the top comments. Not day haul, but this is a very good peek into your future. Your mother-in-law is going to do this all the time about everything, and it doesn't sound like your fiancé has the spine to stand up to her. You need to have a conversation with her about your partnership and her mother. If you're happy to deal with us for the rest of your life, then good luck with the wedding. But if you don't want her interfering with everything, imagine when she becomes a grandmother. Then you need to take pause and consider whether this is what you want forever. This, 100% this. If she runs your wedding, she will have input in your future homes, kids, and their upbringing, and anything you do. She will have an opinion and try to control it. If you accept this, she knows she's got you, and you'll be posting in just no mother-in-law for the rest of your marriage. Not day haul. All of this. Both of these posts. If your fiancé won't stand up to her mother, your future mother-in-law is going to be a third party in your relationship. This is a massive red flag. Not day haul. Not day haul. But the question you need to ask yourself is if this is a life you want to live. This isn't going away after the wedding. This is huge. Opie needs to realize that this is a peek into her family life and how she will deal with them in the upcoming years. Your fiancé knows you have disabled parents, and she's agreeing with her mother still. Opie, I would consider not marrying her right now. How long have you guys been dating? And it seems she is still hugely dependent on her parents. You guys might have a compatibility issue, and jumping into a marriage so fast might be setting up yourselves for failure/divorce, which could financially ruin you, especially since she is just a student. Not day home. Run, Opie, run. Your parents not being able to make it to that venue should be a deal breaker for your future wife and her parents. The fact that it isn't shows you just how little they value you, your family, and friends. Think about how these plays with buying a home, having children, and raising children. Look how much your future monster-in-law is trying to micromanage your life now. How is it going to be with babies in the mix? Assuming that's your plan. If you're not planning on having kids, how is that going to go over with her? Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not being excited enough over my sister's pregnancy and saying no to planning the baby shower? Okay, so it's not that I, female 26, hate kids. I really don't. But you would think that if you spoke to my family. My parents and rest of my family are going insane over my sister Sophia's pregnancy. It's dominating every discussion and every family get-together. Won't lie, this has been getting to me. Like, I'm not saying it's not a blessing, but oh my god, I'm bored of talking about baby showers, baby names, clothes, etc. So I just kind of turn off when it comes up now. I'm trying to be polite, but it's especially upsetting because the father of my future nephew/niece is the guy I was, it might still be, I don't know anymore, really in love with. Luke was actually someone I dated first back in my final year of university. Luke is also from my home city too, but we hadn't met prior. We dated a good few months before I decided that we worked better as friends. This hurt, but I pushed through it and we got a good friendship out of it. So when we graduated, we both went back home and spent pretty much the entire summer at ours because he has a difficult relationship with his father. That's when Luke and Sophia got together. Yet, despite all this history between Luke and I, no one in my family seems to think this whole experience might be a little strange for me. I won't lie, when I saw him kissing my sister drunk at a party, I kinda thought, you prick. But it's okay. It won't last. Safe to say, it lasted. But whatever, you know? You have to get over stuff like this. And I am, but I'm not a fountain of enthusiasm over it either. The drama comes when my mom asked me if I could plan the baby shower. And I told her no, basically, because I personally disagree with them trying to hold one during a pandemic anyway. That I have a life outside of this whole thing and that I'm busy. I didn't say it, but it also feels weird for me to be so involved with my feelings being the mess that they are. I just told her she could do it if she wanted. It's her grandchild, and that makes more sense than me doing it. But my mom got upset with me and my tone, and accused me of being unsupportive of my sister's happiness this whole time, and even selfish for not wanting to be part of it more. But I wasn't going to take that, because I've tried really hard to be mature over this. So I told her she was being suffocating with it, But not everyone has to do everything she wants all the time, and basically told her off for making a drama out of nothing. But now she's upset with me, and I'm starting to feel bad. Am I the a-hole? This has nothing to do with your history with Luke. If you don't want to do the baby shower, don't do it. Your mom is being extremely entitled to think she can just give commands like that and commit emotional blackmail when people refuse. Moms have the reputation of being so kind and supportive, but I've mostly noticed they tend to be entitled little children that always have to get their way. So strange. And if she did agree, Mom will be all over it, demanding and checking in and ordering. See what games you've planned, and then tell you must also plan to play this one and that one too. What? You don't have a 1C station? You must hate your sister. Plan one now and make sure you have glitter glue, not just Sharpies for decorating. And what cake did you order? That's not nearly big enough. And want just vanilla. You need to do a vanilla chocolate split cake to show you truly care, etc. Not today, Hall. Despite the fact your sister found it appropriate to get together with your ex, you just don't want to plan the baby shower, and that's fine. You have a job and a life outside of hers. Yours doesn't have to stop because she's having a baby. If it makes you uncomfortable, then end of story. No need to explain further. Not today, Hall. You've already been very mature in this situation. It is possible for you to be happy for your sister and still not want to get overly involved with the process. Good on you for standing up for yourself. Your mom sounds pretty pushy. Just let her know that you look forward to attending the baby shower as a guest and not a planner. There's no shame in some boundaries. How did they respond when you moved on to your sister? Did they offer you any empathy, support, understanding? They didn't, but it's my own fault, because I downplayed my feelings for him to them. Because it was kind of embarrassing to admit that I really liked him when he broke it off, and we were still seeing each other loads as friends. They offered sympathy at the time of the breakup, but I brushed it off. So they figured by the time he got with Sophia that all was well. They even joked over it a few times, which was so awkward for me. I just really suck at expressing myself, I think. I just kind of hoped they'd see through it.